Welcome to Never Too Serious with Scott and Dave. I'm Scott.
And I'm Dave.
Dave, I've been looking in the news lately.
Have you? What have you been finding? Anything serious?
Yeah, actually, some serious stuff, but I didn't want to go too serious.
Oh, fantastic. We don't need to go that way.
Yeah, I saw an article. This was actually on Twitter. I was just kind of killing some time, and Glenn Beck's Blaze.
Yeah.
They always find some interesting news that's kind of like counter to the liberal propaganda stuff, and I thought this one was funny. The heading, it says, calling a man bald is now considered sexual harassment in the UK. Some judge ruled.
Hey, one for the men.
Well, so I've got a little concern about my growing bald spot.
Yeah?
And I know you mentioned it. You don't want to be bald either.
Well, I don't want to be, but, I've got a thinning helicopter pad up there.
Yeah.
And, when I put my headphones on, I feel that cold. It's like, oh, there's supposed to be some kind of fur up there to keep me from being cold. It's not up there. But to be fair, it's been that way for freaking 20 years, but
can you imagine?
It'd be nice if it was all thick again. I know they have something for it. The implant seems actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But, I'm making this up. I have no idea
the
how
old
much it
Biden
costs,
plugs.
but I don't want to do another freaking $20,000 just so I could have
so you can have
hair. I'm not planning to be going out and
you're married,
getting
so
women.
Yeah.
She's already stuck.
Yeah. Well, evidently, they're equating someone calling you bald to you talking about some woman's breasts.
Good.
Can you?
It hurts. Well, there's a lot of sensitive men up there.
I guess I don't get.
Is there a lot of people out there really pointing and making really dogging on people, like they're getting on the metro and hey baldy, hey Mr. Bald Man, baldy bald, and he's sitting there and just starts crying. Yeah. I mean,
all the cat calls about your bald head.
Yeah. That's pretty sad if that's a problem.
Yeah. It's weird because this article is talking about from CNBC. They report. Let's see. A CNBC report noted that 3 members of this tribunal alluded that their own personal experience with hair loss said that baldness was more prevalent in men than women. Sure. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Therefore, arguing that use of the term bald is an insult that is related to a protected characteristic of sex.
See, I don't understand about
it's like we're really reaching. Yeah. We're really reaching.
Yeah. There's some people out there that really have nothing to do at work.
Yeah.
They're just, hey, how about this? Will this go? Hey, let's just go with this one. All right, that sounds cool. High fives.
Yeah, I don't get where the sexual harassment part comes in.
I don't either. But, everybody's got to have something, I guess. So.
Yeah, everyone has to have some reason to sue someone else.
Well, now, I guess.
Does this create precedents, do you think?
I don't think so. Not this one.
Not this one?
No, I think it's a joke, and I think everybody's going to look at it as such.
I hope so.
It's just
so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's like somebody walking by going, oh my gosh, he's wearing a size 14 shoe. Make fun of their shoe size now.
Yeah.
So now, better sue them.
Yeah, better sue them. Yeah, you're talking about other body parts based on their shoe size.
So now,
I guess
now you could probably get sexual harassment for just calling somebody short or tall then. Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Would they have a beard?
Well,
and a woman.
See, that's the thing, is this whole gender thing. I got another article later.
Yeah.
I'll share about that one.
Well, hey, I got to tell you, so I went to the store, and I was going up to pick up some granite, and the lady goes, she says my wife's name. Oh, Amy? No, not Amy. And she goes, well, you never, or she goes, well, you never can tell these days. I go, now I'm offended. Like, are you kidding me?
You look like an Amy? No.
What does a dude have to do to be known right away that you're a dude? Please, I'm offended that you think that I might think that I'm a girl.
Now, Dave, don't get so offended. You're becoming too sensitive.
I'm trying to be sensitive to everybody else, and then their sensitivity for me is lacking. It's hurting my feelings. Oh gosh,
it's a weird world we live in.
Oh my goodness,
I know. But that's an interesting one because my wife will buy stuff and I'll go pick it up at Home Depot or whatever. She orders a lot of stuff online, so for me it's like I'll go pick it up. That's not a big deal.
Wow,
but then I haven't been called Jenny yet.
You're right. That's funny. But here's on the other spectrum. I have to be crazy sensitive to all that stuff. Then I get shamed this morning and went out to breakfast. And me and this other gentleman, who I don't know, we went to the bathroom, and I found out it's like a one-person bathroom. There's a stand-up and a sit-down, like a foot away from each other. I go, oh, I apologize, I didn't realize it. And he was like, and he's a big old beard kind of a guy. He goes, hey, he starts giving me crap about it. What did he ask me? Sorry, I'm forgetting now. Well, not ashamed, but he goes, what, are you embarrassed? I go, yep, that must be what it is. And so I sit out there, and he comes in and he goes, after a few pictures, you won't care. and I'm like, no, and I told him, I go, I just don't know. I might not have very good shake off habits, but still, there's a guy that, there's a side of society that's like, dude, you don't have to stand out there, share the pisser with me. Come on. We can hug and do this. And the other side is so sensitive that, boy, I couldn't even bring up that conversation, So it's just a freaking mess.
I don't know.
I like the diversity of it all. I just don't like being shamed for it one way or another. But
it reminds me of high school, and not ever using their bathrooms. I mean, yes, they were disgusting, but they also didn't have any doors on them.
Oh yeah.
So wait till I get home.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Another headline here.
Yeah, switch that up.
Indian couple longing for grandchild sues son and his wife
for not making it happen.
Yeah.
Well, do they want to? Have you read into this?
Yeah.
So do they want to have a kid?
Well, I guess the son and the daughter-in-law, they're just taking their time with it. It's a
grandparents are like
grandparents are all upset about it. Retired Indian couple is suing their son and daughter-in-law, demanding that they produce a grandchild within a year or pay them 50 million rupees. That's $675,000 US.
What the hell?
Yeah, this is I get their culture is going to be a little bit different than ours, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I mean, there's some loose screws going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, for the love of God, give her a freaking grandchild.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I mean, I don't know their culture. Can that stick? Can you sue them for that?
I don't know if they can.
I mean, that's an interesting. That'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, here's a quote from the father. He says, "We got him married in the hopes that we would have pleasure of becoming grandparents. We got him married."
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 6 years since their marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about time.
Well,
make it happen.
If this was an arranged marriage, there might be some other complications in there.
Yeah, there might be some contractual things that must happen.
Yeah.
Yep. So he better make it happen because it sounds like this might stick if you could actually sue him for that. But how crazy you got to be as a freaking parent to go be that batshit crazy to freaking sue your kids over not popping out a kid.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the dowry might have been.
The what?
The dowry. Was it? Oh. Because it's, to me, if the father arranged for this marriage, what about the other parents giving up their daughter? There has to have been some sort of thing there, unless she's like a hooker or something. Is that, well, I don't know. I mean, you buy a girl, and maybe now there's this big debt of a lot.
It's paying them for their upbringing, not paying for the kid.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not saying that at all. I just know that might be one culture. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of cultural story behind this, but it just makes me wonder what was the agreement with the other parents if it was an arranged marriage, and if it wasn't an arranged marriage with the other parents, where did this girl come from?
Yeah, and watch out, the other people might sue.
Because maybe these grandparents or these potential future grandparents are totally in debt because of this arranged marriage.
Yeah, he's trying to get some money back.
Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, it's a weird thing. It's not, I'm not used to this sort of arranged deal as much as my mother probably would have done it if if allowed to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I bet.
Mm-hmm. There is a so in Florida, this one caught my eye because sometimes like the sheriffs have a different opinion of government than like the regular police.
Yep.
County sheriff, they have a tendency to be more in tune with like constitutional rights and gun rights and that sort of thing.
They're more about the people.
More about the people.
Yeah.
Well, this one's
more protective.
This headline caught my attention because the sheriff had been interviewed after this thing, and I thought, well, gosh, this is kind of an interesting take because, I mean, Florida is, well, they're becoming a little bit more right-leaning, I guess, but I would imagine in some of our more rural counties, we'd have a similar take. And the sheriff said after this break-in that the homeowner needs to learn to become a better shot so they can save taxpayer money.
I've said some stuff like that before, so I can't disagree with that 100%. You may not want to like publicly say that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want
to. I get what he's saying. This guy's a complete dirtbag. Now, when you shoot him, now it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars probably to go get him to the hospital and fix him up, just so he could go to jail, which is going to cost $30,000 to $50,000 a year to sit in jail. When he gets out, how statistically speaking, he's going to go out and do it all over again. Is going to say. It's just in the cycle.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's annoying, especially when you work with it. That's what he does for a living. He sees it every day.
Yeah.
So it's I've done a lot of problem solving, and the best way to solve this, I hate to say it, is it's not a pretty picture.
Be a better shot.
Yeah. So makes sense. It's just cold.
Yeah.
Hard to hear.
I guess this guy, he's a 32-year-old guy that kept breaking into different houses in Pensacola, Florida.
Just didn't listen.
Yeah. Multiple residents called 911 last Wednesday to report the break-ins, and deputies quickly set up a perimeter. Suspect was jumping over fences and breaking into homes, and deputies tried to catch him. We didn't know which homeowner shot him. I guess that I guess they think that they did something wrong. Which they said, Johnson said, if someone is breaking into your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them. We'd prefer that you do it accurately. So funny.
That is funny-ish.
Yeah. I guess I don't know what all the laws are about breaking. When someone breaks into your house, but I know some states are pretty. They're pretty strict. Like, you can't do anything unless they're like assaulting you or something. And then other states, it's like they walk through uninvited and you can.
Yeah. How I see it is breaking a window, breaking down a door is a violent act in itself to get through there. Mm-hmm. And you're not coming in to bake me a cake or give me a full body massage. So therefore, I'm just going to take you as you're going to harm me. I'm going to eliminate a situation right quick.
Yeah.
And I don't know judo. So I'm going to have to go with what I know.
Yeah. And those grandmas, it's the great equalizer having that pistol.
Damn right.
Yeah. So this one caught my eye, not because of who this was, but the acts of a activist. They're not surprising anymore, but there's a lot of activists who do really stupid stuff. They make stupid signs. They do things to get attention for whatever their cause is. There's an actor, James Cromwell. I don't know if you...
He sounds familiar.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you a picture.
Oh.
You recognize that guy?
I do, from Family Ties, right?
No. Not for Family Ties. Yeah, but yeah, he's
that Alf?
That's
All right.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he glued his hands to a Starbucks counter. He glued his hands.
So he plumb lost his shit.
and what I don't get is he's protesting the coffee chain's extra charge for plant-based milk. That's it. Glue my hands to the counter because I don't want to be upcharged for plant-based milk. Does this make any sense? Your face.
Yeah, he's lost his shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like lost it. Like, well, this is just one too many stupid things that he just couldn't take anymore. And it's like, wow, that's pretty bad. I don't know how he could be so upset at that and not tying himself to like the gas pump or tying himself to like the meat, the deli or anything out there is climbed up so ridiculous.
Well, he's made the news,
and that's your, of course he's an actor, so anything they make. They could do anything.
Yeah, we're talking about him.
Exactly. But
well, I remember the days when we had like the spotted owl, was endangered, and we'd have folks in the woods chaining themselves to a tree so that the loggers wouldn't cut it down.
No, they were in the way because I was they paid me to hunt those little bastards. Get them out the forest, they say.
But people will do stuff for their whatever their cause is. Yeah. But at least it wasn't a violent thing like we saw, much of COVID times with Antifa and BLM in Portland.
I can appreciate that. However, it's just dumb because what people do, the same thing that goes with the people that stand out in front of cars holding up a sign, is they're screwing over the people they're not against. You're pissing off everybody that cannot help you in your cause or situation, because there's people behind him in a line. The people in front of him just means, I don't have to work any harder. Not for a while anyway. He's freaking glued himself to the desk, you idiot. This is entertaining for today. Sorry I can't help you guys. Yeah. And just like the people out in front holding the signs, it's everybody wants to kick your ass. Nobody cares about your cause. In fact, now they're going to hate your cause and everything, you and everything you stand for. And, take it to the man. Go do something productive. And I hate, these are just stupid. I wonder. I get if you have the gonads to go, female or male, to go protest, I say do it. But go do it so they feel it. I will say, back in the day when you're talking about the spotted owl, when they were chaining themselves to the tree, that did stop them technically for cutting down those specific trees. Sure. So at least it was about something.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst ones when they were putting spikes into the trees so that the chainsaws would. Oh, yeah. That was more dangerous.
How do you think the trees enjoyed that?
Yeah.
Huh? You think you like that?
Well, I'm curious about how this guy drank his coffee after he. Glued his hands to the table.
I'll tell you what, he's going to be feeling worse than anybody else. He just freaking super glued himself to the table. I've super glued myself before on an accident, and that stuff hurts. I mean, I guess I did find out later that there's ways to get it off. It might not hurt so bad, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, that's foolish move.
Yeah, not too bright, I don't think. But there are a lot of people who their activist mindset is do anything for the cause.
We saw something, people will react.
Well, we saw it recently with folks protesting outside of the Supreme Court justices' houses.
Oh, that's a no-no.
Yeah, that is a no-no. You can't do that. There are limits.
I think they found out though, didn't they? Didn't they find out that they should not be, harassing judges?
Yeah. You probably shouldn't. So you and I have kind of grown up similar. Is your mom one of those folks that loves yard sales, garage sales?
My mom could drive past them just fine. She's stopped by once in a while, but not so much. My mother-in-law, she gets up on a day, no one going out to do it every time. She has to stop by. If there's one that she's driving by, she has to pull in, and seems like she, for the most part, won't leave without getting something. So my mom, no, but my mother-in-law, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with my I mean, really, I think it's my well, it would be both sides of my family because my grandmother on my dad's side, she was a big time, like, always, go get hand-me-down stuff, yard sales and garage sales and Goodwill and Salvation Army and that sort of thing. And my grandmother on my mother's side, she would plan her day and go hit yard sales. Plan her Sunday and go get whatever it is. Yeah, just stuff. And then she'd bring it back and it'd just sit there. Wasn't of much value.
You spent, $3 on something that was $65, but you have no need, and you're just going to throw it in a pile.
Yeah. Well, and then there was this guilt of getting rid of anything that wasn't being used, and so my grandmother hung on to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sometimes there's this idea that there's going to be something of real value, and when you go to these thrift shops or yard sales or Goodwills. Here's an article. It says Goodwill find in Texas turns out to be an ancient Roman bust.
Really?
Yeah. Now, a bust in this particular case is this guy's head.
And, it's funny. That's actually what I went to first.
Yeah?
Yep, believe it or not.
That does surprise me. I'm not sure I believe you. When I say bust, it's not generally head.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting find.
And somebody's just tossing it around for so many years, probably lost its, not its value, but not realizing its value.
Yeah. Well, the article talks about them getting this bust and getting it evaluated, realizing that, hey, this is pretty solid. And turns out that it's some spoils from World War II when the Nazis were taking all of these artifacts,
really,
and hoarding them.
Those rat bastards.
Yeah, and this was one that was never found until it ended up in a Goodwill. Yeah,
they probably said, "Get this damn thing out of my house." It's probably some lady. The husband was carrying this around for years and years from family to family. Mm-hmm. She's like, "Get this hideous thing out of my freaking living room."
Yeah, probably all wrapped up in that Nazi flag.
Oh. Damn that flag.
But it just, this is one of those things where my grandmother would have said, see, you can find good stuff at yard sales or whatever.
Yeah.
Not unless there's like fishing stuff or, outdoor stuff. I'm not really interested. I know my dad used to love getting the tools and stuff.
Well, now everybody expects it's $10 off from the original price. Like, then I'm going to go spend $10 to get a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't really sell it to get rid of it.
Well, that's what, I still have some things that I don't want to get rid of, but I definitely don't hang on to stuff like I used to. You don't really hang on to stuff either.
I got a couple boxes of my Land Rover Defender stuff that I've been trying to get rid of, but when I see that there's a brand new windshield wiper switch, it's like a $200 to $400 switch,
Oh, you're kidding me.
No. And so and I have a bunch of things and everybody, and I'm selling, everybody's like, I'll tell you what, I'll buy everything for $200. I'm like, oh, but right now I'd be like, I'll take that. Just get it the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So I do look at that sometimes. And sometimes I look at it as there's no value. I'm not losing money by selling it for that, even though it's worth that. I should have gotten rid of it.
I have some old remote control airplane stuff. I was really fascinated by that. And I got this plane, went out and bought a motor for it, did some repairs on it, got the controller, and everything was functional. And then I went out to fly it one day, and it scared me so much. Gosh, this was a long time ago, but it scared me so much to start up the propeller, because you had to spin it with your hand. And when that thing kicked on, it scared the crap out of me.
You didn't think about getting a stick?
I was like, I needed like an electric start or something, because it's a little motor, and when you crank that thing over and hit that initial spark, and then it revs up, holy cow, that scared.
Yeah, I was looking into wanting to get those remote control helicopters, and those are really serious things, and then they're like carbon fiber, blades on it, and I heard that people have taken to kill themselves with those things.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get that one. Drone sounds good.
Yeah, that's exactly the
Yeah.
direction I went.
Yeah.
I started getting drone stuff, and anyway, I still have this stuff in my garage, and I know that it has value, and so it doesn't have any value to me, but I don't want to just throw it out.
Right,
I have
right.
this, I think it's hereditary because this is the way my grandparents have been, and my grandma currently is, where it's hard to get rid of stuff that you think someone else would find valuable, and this is one of those areas I go, oh gosh, I know someone would like to have it. So at one of these days, I'm gonna put it up for sale. And
Well,
get rid of it.
I don't hoard a whole lot of things. I really don't. I've gotten pretty good about getting rid of things for the most part. But, there for a while, it was kind of hard for me. And I think when I was growing up, not having a ton, I had more than I deserve. I'll say that. But there's some people that get just dumped on with things and items and stuff. And I didn't have a whole lot of stuff. And so when I had the ability to create my own stuff, I want to get rid of my stuff, I want to hold on to my stuff. That's my stuff.
That's my stuff.
So, I get it.
My wife really hates stuff. It's got to be used. If it's not actively being used, we don't need it.
That's why you go outside and shoot your guns off into the ground. And just, what are you doing? And I'm just using this thing. I don't want you to get any ideas.
Well, I definitely, as I've gotten older, I realize that I don't like clutter. Clutter gives me anxiety, about whatever my space is. Right now, my office is not in great shape. I've been accumulating some clutter, and I've got some different equipment that I'm setting up for different projects, and it's not organized like I would like it to be. And so it gives me anxiety as soon as I walk into that office. Same thing at work, though. My day job, people drop stuff off all the time in my office, like old tech, or something is ordered and they just drop it off in my office instead of putting it someplace. And every time I walk in, it's like, I got to clean that up or something.
Yeah.
But I share my office with another person, so I have to balance what they're what they want to do with what I want to do. So
yeah, at my office, I share with somebody else too, and so we have to share each other's problems when other people come in and have to deal with them, and so it's interesting.
Yeah, I think
I've got a good partner, so it's okay.
For me, it's really, I grew up in this sort of environment, so it's hard for me to let it all go. But
I get it.
I'm working on it. Well,
as long as you're trying to better yourself.
I got another article here. I thought this was kind of an interesting one because we do have a society of potentially some crazy people. We see them in the news all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll see in the news shortly.
Don't point at me. So this guy, a man charged for opening door and walking on the wing of a jet as it taxis.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You saw that one?
Yeah.
How crazy do you have to be to do something like that? And then how crazy is the staff where they allow that to happen?
I don't know. It seems like that's such a huge deal. I can't believe it even occurred.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just can't believe it. But then again, I get it. There's a lot of people on a plane. I can't even believe how many fights are going on these planes either. I mean, it used to be that people knew how to act and there's certain etiquette to have on a plane.
Yeah.
And even to where you don't want to lean your seat all the way back into somebody else's lap. To now it's like, this is my seat, it's my space, I can do what I want, I paid for it. And people are just rude and crazy. I just can't even believe it happened.
Yeah, me too. I'm surprised it happened. Supposedly it happened at 4:30 in the morning.
I almost didn't believe it was true at first because I was like, no.
Well, he got off the plane and was like off on the tarmac and was trying to direct it into, the airport gate. There's something. This is not drinking. This is not drinking too much on the plane.
This is dropping. I don't know, drugs right before the plane leaves, so you look just fine, and then it hits mid-flight. And now next thing you know, this guy's out. I got you. I'm going to take you in. We're going to take us all home. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, really crazy.
I'm sure you got arrested. That's a federal offense. You can't, a couple or a few of them, in fact, I imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And I don't know, really, did you read if the flight crew try to stop him, or they go, well, let's just see what happens to this loser.
Yeah, there wasn't much comment in this article, it's for sure.
You should probably not do, sir. No, you should probably sit down and not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't exit the plane, sir. Sir.
Are you kidding me? I've seen people duct tape on a seat for less stuff than that. Oh my gosh.
I mean, at least they weren't in the air, I suppose, but
Well,
yeah.
Well, he got an interesting story to tell.
That's right.
Good for him.
So there's this again, this is a weird world that we live in.
Uh-huh.
So sexual harassment investigation launches into into 3 middle schoolers for using the wrong pronouns.
Called somebody bald.
Yeah.
Poor kids.
Poor
Didn't see it
kids.
coming.
Yeah. Didn't know what it was at first. Yeah, Kiel, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Yeah, investigation was launched into 3 middle schoolers accused of calling a classmate by their wrong pronouns. School district then filed a Title IX complaint against the Kiel Middle School students, accusing them of sexual harassment, which is a very weird thing because they're middle school kids, so this falls onto the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't really, I mean, you're kind of limited on what you can do to the kids as far as prosecuting them. But
And to be fair, even a good parent could say, hey, Tommy, don't go to school and punch Sam in the face.
yeah.
Okay, Dad goes in and punch Sam in the face. What are you doing? I told you not to. He does it again, and I tell him again. You could take him out of school, go through therapy, all this other crap, send him back. Okay, you're good. You're not going to go punch Sam in the face? Nope. Pop! You can do so much, but how are they going to sue a kid or even stop them from, I mean, even if they didn't know and it was accidental, what are you going to have them wear a sign so that they can say, hey, this is how you are going to talk to me, or don't get mad if people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you wear a sign in middle school, you're toast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to break it to them, but there's a culture out there. I know that they're trying to change it, I guess, but you might have to toughen up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so many of these schools, they're dealing with issues in-house. A kid comes in, vaping or worse sometimes, and they don't even tell the authorities. They just deal with it in-house and don't let it get too far out. But in this particular case, the school district sent this notification to the parents that they're being sued, which is crazy because I wouldn't imagine this is going to go very far because evidently this Title IX stuff only addresses like major sexual harassment, where there's physical touching, there's rape, there's doing sexual favors to get something else.
This falls into bullying, and I think more so, and I don't approve of. I don't think somebody should, whether they did wear a sign to help people identify them, I don't think they should be bullied. But I don't think it should go as far as you're going to sue somebody because kids are being shitty little kids and just bullying them.
One of the students, his name's Braden, he said his mom was on the news describing what had happened, and evidently little Braden was standing up for one of his friends who's kind of a quiet kid who was being sort of berated by this person that prefers to be called they or them, and was yelling at this other kid. And so Braden stood up for his friend and I guess refused to call them they or them, and this turned out to be something more serious supposedly, but I can't imagine that this going too far in the courts.
Well, I don't think you should make anybody calling them they or them.
You can't make anyone call them anything.
You could do whatever the hell you want to do, but I'm not going to do whatever the hell you want to do. You're not going to make me come over to your house and play with your toys, I can't. You're not going to make me be your buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Hate that. Did you ever have your mom go, here you go play with this kid over here. You'll like them. Oh my gosh. It pissed me off because there was this kid named Dell, and people would always be, I never even knew this kid because he left at the school the year I came into the school. And they're like, "Oh, you're just like Dell. You're like Dell Jr. Dell. And like, so then I finally met Dell like a year or so later, and he's such a tool. I'm like, you sons of bitches. Like that's who. What was my point? It was
You can't make me play with Dell.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's right. They go, that's right. They came over when I first met him. Like, oh, you'll love him. You guys are so much alike. I'm like, I'm not like this loser. I need a cigarette.
That is, I haven't heard that name in so many years.
You know who I'm talking about,
I know
though, don't you?
I know exactly. My grandma was friends with his mother.
Yeah.
And he used to come over to my grandparents' place, and we were sort of not forced, but encouraged to play and do stuff. Eventually, they moved. I want to say they moved to Idaho. I want to say Idaho, and my grandparents took me on this trip to their house, and it freaked me out because they lived in a place where they had a lot of snakes.
Oh.
And so he took us out it was like this nearby like junkyard, cars and leftover
Where a bunch of snakes
junk.
might be hanging out.
Exactly. And so he went out there and caught snakes in front of me, and I was deathly afraid of snakes.
Oh.
And so he was catching snakes and then putting them in my face. And
Oh, what a bastard.
oh man, I freaked me out a lot. But yeah, I totally remember Dell.
It was funny because your mom was the one that said, "Oh, you'll like it. You can play with him." I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, I want to smack him. I just wanted to smack him.
Dell had a sister too. I can't remember her name.
Del Arena.
No, I
Probably looked a lot like him.
Dell. That's funny.
How insulting.
Yeah. You
meet the person that everybody says you look like.
Hey, so other news, maybe not as funny. This is probably not nearly as funny.
Great.
Because we love the children. Did you hear about this baby formula shortage?
Yeah, it's a good thing. Good move.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any kids that need baby formula, so...
Did you hear about why there's a shortage?
I've heard several things.
Right, okay.
And I thought that eventually I ran into Tucker Carlson doing a thing on his show about this, and it really opened my eyes a bit because all of the articles that I had read about it didn't match up with what Tucker Carlson had sort of unveiled on his show, because they're talking about these manufacturers, one in particular that has this government contract for what used to be called WIC, which is the women's, I don't know the entire acronym, but it's basically lower income women can apply for WIC, and then the government gives them these discounts on, formula and other baby stuff. Okay. Well, evidently there's this contract with this particular company that the government has had for years, and that company was sort of shut down for some different issues. And because of that, the government then takes their WIC sort of contract and applies it to these other manufacturers. And they've been buying up tons and tons of baby formula because their main supplier is no longer supplying it. And then there are some reports that pallets and pallets, thousands and thousands of these canisters of baby formula is going to our southern border.
Right.
Going down to the people who have crossed illegally.
Right.
And now all these people are, all these American citizens, these mothers who, they can't for some reason or chose not to breastfeed,
right,
have to have something, an alternative.
That's right.
You can't just give them cow's milk.
Nope.
It doesn't work.
Nope.
Nope. You can't just start feeding them, regular food. So this is a pretty important one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's kind of weird how that there's so many things that are happening to the Americans, and it's really all at the same time, and it's not a little bit here and there. It's all at the same time. It should be freaking people out, from inflation and to all of our shortages, the I'm going to get this wrong, but the food warehouses or factories or whatever that's been burning down lately, just all this stuff that's affecting us. That I have a 15-gallon tank and it cost me $75 to fill up. Let's get real, people.
Mhm.
I mean, come on.
Well, the White House, have you heard what they're saying about this?
Well, I thought I had, but they're trying to like congratulate themselves somehow. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, of course they're patting themselves on the back on their economic achievements, but Jen Psaki was talking about the reason for the shortage is because parents are hoarding baby formula.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just thinking, and she also then blames the other people who are just trying to make a profit. So they buy up all this formula and then they sell it at outrageous prices or whatever. But it just kind of floors me because, you're blaming this problem because I think it was the FDA that actually shut down this other factory. And so they kind of shot themselves in the foot. And now they're blaming parents for hoarding.
Go figure, the FDA shuts down the one that the government was using to give to the low income people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird turn. And they were aware of this in February. And it's in mid-May for us right now.
Yeah.
So they've known about this for a while. And it's just surprising that it still hasn't been solved. And then the other is, of course, we're sending all this aid over to Ukraine instead of taking care of us.
Yep.
It's really surprising that we're experiencing what we are.
Expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In other news, this is where like things start getting more.
I'm getting pissed off.
Depressing. So this is from the New York Post. Crypto investors panic during the market bloodbath.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I heard crypto isn't doing so good.
Mm-mm.
It's sell it, people.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can buy some more. I've got a little bit of crypto and different varieties.
I have less than you, so I have a little bit too.
But we talked about this on the previous show, and it's such an interesting marketplace. But if you're looking at it as an investment, and you start seeing crashes like we're seeing, that creates a buying opportunity for people that didn't over commit. And this article talks about these folks that are, they're claiming that their only way out of this is killing themselves. They're gonna, because they've overextended their finances and there's no way they can get out of it. This one person said that they lost over $450K and cannot pay the bank. Well, so how is it that you took loans out to buy crypto? Is that a normal thing? Do people invest like that? Where they pull out debt in order to...
You should not be pulling out debt.
No.
To be paying, because that also takes right off the top of what you're investing, because if you have there's a percentage on your loan you have to pay that you're losing to have that loan out in the first place. So that's coming off of the head of whatever profit you could be making. And if you're losing profit on your stock that you happen to buy, then you're losing twice because you have taken a loan out to pay for it.
Yeah. And then...
that's like gambling with loan money. It's like,
that's kind of, then the other thing is anytime that you do make something out of it, then you also have to pay taxes on your gains.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you're paying, it's expensive money to buy using debt. And then you have to pay taxes on top of that.
I recommend it.
No.
I only recommend using cash. You have to have that.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you extend yourself that way? Someone was not very smart financially.
It's funny because when you read that and they said that they're having all these issues, and like, I don't get it. Oh, you did something effed up.
Yeah.
Oh, now it makes sense because you shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a you problem, not
Yeah, I don't think this person knows much about investing if they're going to extend themselves like that.
I get their point. They need a bunch of money now to get it at a certain price because it's never going to be better. He probably saw gold in his eyes, and had to do it while it was, quote, low.
And I've been following it, and I recently had purchased some because I've been sitting on some money for when the market does drop again. And sure enough, it dropped, and so I put some money towards it, and it hit a pretty good low, and then the very next day, gains of like 15%.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm glad I bought a little bit more, because then I just made a bunch. I just made a bunch of money in this short little window.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't realized it because it's still sitting in my account, but I put money in crypto because at some point down the road, I'm hoping that the gains will be substantial, because if you look back at most crypto over the last 10 years, it's up. It's not as up as it was this time last year, but overall, crypto is still outperforming in a lot of different areas. And so,
well, hopefully something in the next 5-10 years big happens to it, or else it'll probably fizzle out. But
yeah, and that's one of the things that I was listening to recently, was that some folks in the know say that some of these other cryptos that are not as big as like Bitcoin and Ethereum, their confidence level in those particular areas is low for them to be able to be around. But I mean, there's a lot of cryptos that are pretty old, and I mean, pretty old. They're more than 10 years old, and they're still around, and they've suffered and gained and suffered and gained. And so I just figure I'm not putting my house up for it.
That's right.
So none of this really bothers me. This is money that I haven't allocated for anything else in my life.
That's same with my wife and I. We put some in, and it's if we lose it all, it's darn.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, well, there goes my daughter's future. She's going to have to go to the state college. Nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
oh well, that's the way it goes, I guess. But yeah, I'm not going to start pulling money out when it crashes like that.
I wouldn't recommend that.
No. One last article. I thought, Elon Musk has been bidding to buy Twitter, and they had some sort of agreement, and then he recently tweeted out that it's been put on hold.
Oh.
And who knows, maybe by the time this podcast airs, that'll have changed again.
Oh.
But I just thought it was kind of interesting that he said, well, wait a minute, we're going to take a look at this thing. And what he's looking at is the number of fake accounts and bots that are on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Are you familiar with bots on Twitter?
No.
So I do a little bit of social media. I mean, we're at the NTS podcast on Twitter, and I'll get on there and I'll post and retweet and read other people's posts. But there are accounts on there that are interesting because they're not really controlled by a human. They're software that's been integrated into Twitter, and some of the software can post stuff, it can retweet stuff, it can like stuff, it can send direct messages, and it can reply to posts. So how do you know whether an account is a bot or not?
You'll have to go to the programmer and find out which ones are which. I mean, it's got to be programmed somewhere.
Well, there's so many different software packages that can do this very thing. There's this interface, they call it an API. And the API, a lot of companies have APIs. Google has them. A lot of news organizations will have them to allow you to create software that can use the power of that particular platform. So a case in point, like with Google, you can create software that taps into like Google Maps, and you can post locations, zones, other things that's kind of interacting and overlaid with Google Maps. And this is, I think, like with Uber and cryptocurrencies, you can use software to pull data from these different like Coinbase and Voyager and some of these other exchanges, and you can create your own interface, all the graphs, and you can see, news feeds, and you can create your own software that uses the power of that platform. Well, that's what they're doing with Twitter. If you have, let's say, several Twitter accounts, you can get software that will manage all those Twitter accounts using one app instead of having to log in with multiple accounts. Well, the crux of this whole thing is not knowing whether an account is a real person or not. Twitter has this verified check mark that you can achieve. We're not verified. I've done everything that I can to get us verified on Twitter, but maybe people think that we're a bot. I don't know. But
there's probably only like 100,000 followers on Twitter. The rest of them are all fake.
Well, that's what I'm kind of curious about. They said that there's no more than 5% of Twitter that are bots. But 5% of Twitter is a lot of bots.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of bots. And so Elon Musk has put things on hold to investigate a little bit more about really what's going on with the bots. Because there's these people who want to have they want to they want to get rid of the dis and misinformation on the platform. Well, if a lot of those are just bots, you could have software that does propaganda, that does, we'll just say Russia uses these bots to put out little posts on all these different accounts to drum up some some news story or some opinion that people then start to follow. And so there's a certain danger to the credibility of the stuff that's on the platform if these bots are allowed to be created and manipulated by software.
Make a certain thing going on in the world more crazier than it is.
Exactly.
People panic
create fear. Exactly.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah. So he's put things on hold, and of course, Twitter's stock plunged when when it was put on hold. And I thought, he hasn't even purchased it yet, but all these people on Twitter are saying, "Thanks, Elon, for verifying or for allowing my account to come back," and there's all this stuff that he's not even in control. He hasn't completed the purchase yet, and people are claiming that all of a sudden, like, all the number of followers have changed.
He's like the cop, back in the day when they used to have house parties and everybody's out on the lawn and the cop rolls by and everybody stands up and puts everything's everybody's at their best behavior. He's just driving by Twitter. He was like, clean that up, put that away, put out the cigarette, hide the views, So everybody's panicking.
It cracks me up because some people don't even realize that he hasn't bought the platform yet. And so they do these things because they themselves haven't done enough.
People already checked themselves into therapy over this, and he hasn't even done it yet.
I saw who's the guy from InfoWars? You do a great impression of him.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Jones.
Yeah. He was booted from Twitter a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I saw a post from an account that looked very much like his original account. The InfoWars stuff on there, his pictures on there, the username is very much like, Alex Jones at InfoWars. And the claim was, "Hey, thanks, Elon." He tweeted towards, to Elon. He says, "Thanks, Elon, for reinstating my account." And
this has to be a joke.
Exactly. And what's so funny is that so many people got on there and just freaked the hell out. Yeah, they freaked out. And then you can see some of these other people who got on there and they're like, "You guys are so stupid. This is not a real account. It's a parody account. And you guys are freaking out." I mean, people went crazy because they don't do their due diligence to figure out whether something is real or not.
That's what we're dealing with out there.
Yeah. And so now the truth. What's the name of the agency? The White House came out with some sort of new agency that is Ministry of Truth or something. Maybe that's the non.
Don't believe anything they have to say. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Let's see. It's Nina Jankowicz.
Sure.
Sure. Oh yeah. Old Nina.
Yeah. She owes me $14.
Yeah. She is the. Let me find it here. So the article it says the disinformation expert tapped by President Biden to head the new U.S. agency division that critics have likened to an Orwellian Ministry of Truth. Okay, and that verified Twitter users should be able to edit other users' tweets if they believe they are misleading.
Oh my good Lord.
Yeah, so she is the director of the Disinformation Governance Board in the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, and so she's saying, because you've been on Wikipedia before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she thinks that the verified Twitter users should be able to modify or bring clarity to these tweets because, Wikipedia does such a good job of making sure things are true. I was always told never use Wikipedia for something that's really important because the information is not terribly accurate. So Elon came out and was commenting. He's
people
like,
out.
well, he's like, this is a little disconcerting, because when the head of this particular department, who's supposed to be the person checking on truth, suggests that other Twitter users should determine what truth is, and be able to change tweets, it's not a good idea.
That would be a little
So
fun.
much for
I
freedom
would say
of-
that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, so much for freedom of speech.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, just tweet back and forth, have your debate.
Yeah. I would like to get rid of the bots, though.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, I don't think we need those. They
No.
need those.
Mhm.
Social people try to be social though.
Well, it makes me wonder how many followers are actual people, and I don't know all the rules about how to get verified on Twitter, but we haven't been verified yet, and we've had the account for over a year or so.
Well, like there's a Facebook will have this, chick with like her boobs hanging out and saying something like friend. I'm not going to say it right, but friend me or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll look down and I go, how the hell does this person even know me? Well, because my cousin said, I'll be your friend, Hottie. And so then they go, it links up to his list of people, his friends list.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they reach out to me. I'm like, having this Hottie pop up on your list saying, hey, you want to be my friend isn't like a red flag. Not like, oh, sweet. This is sweet. Like, what do you think tomorrow's going to bring?
That's
Not
funny.
a damn thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, well, the other platforms on like Gettr, we have more followers, I think, on Gettr than we do anywhere else. But we used to have more. But whoever makes sure that real people are actually following you has done a pretty good job of removing some of these bots or these fake accounts. So you'll see the number come up and then it'll drop down because in a relatively short period of time they're figuring out that these are not
I don't
real
mind
people.
if bots follow us as long as they got a fat wallet.
I don't think they do.
Damn it.
Yeah. Any others that you want to talk about?
Well, no, but I will say that I did want to say this to one of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
One of our listeners, we happen to known him since, I don't know, he's just a wee lad.
Yeah.
He turned 21. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say happy birthday to Braden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Braden.
Yeah. We're going to have a little shindig
Yes.
in your behalf, on your behalf.
But we'll invite him. We're not going to.
I wouldn't, no. No, you're not coming over here, dude. We'll video it and show you what it's like.
That's fine. Well,
No,
happy birthday, Braden.
Yep, happy birthday. We'll have to have you over soon.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening and watching the show. If you want more information, you can find it at our website.
Yep, that would be never2serious.com, Scott.
That's correct. And find us on social media at the NTS Podcast, Gettr, Twitter, and Parler. And until we see you next time, take care.
And be safe out there.